What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel. Alchemist. Welcome to the Chariot and Friends. Let me get myself together. Justin here. Are you ready for that eclipse? The energies are moving there for real. But this is an exciting time, Cancer. We are at the full moon. We are at the partial lunar eclipse that's getting ready to happen here. Depending on when you're watching this, it'll be on the 17th when all these shenanigans are going to be happening, and we'll definitely going to get into that in a minute. It's going to be a lot of intuitive downloads I feel are going to be coming in. Pay attention to what is moving you during this time, what is really speaking to you. It's gonna be lovely. I feel it's gonna happen with this, and we're gonna get into all that in a moment. But if you're new here, let me start my hourglass. Welcome, and know that when you come across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she loves that. And this is also a place for you if you have Cancer in your placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, maybe Jupiter, wherever. This one's for you. Or if you just want to hang out with Cancers, just want to sync up with the lunar cycles anyway, I'm with it. I support you in that. And I do tarot card spreads based off our ruler here, the good old moon. We don't talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in. Let me break it down a little bit. And when she's going void, of course, just all of those lunar shenanigans. And just so y'all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it, because yes, we got a pretty good amount of stuff to talk about here. I'm really pumped for this, and I love that we're starting this energy off on a moon day. So depending on when you're watching this, happy moon day. The moon is associated with Mondays, and this is, I feel, a really great time to really just check in to see with how your body's doing, what are some things that are needing to be nourished, especially with the moon being in Pisces now. This could be a really, really creative time for you this day if you happen to have this moon day to maybe do some coloring, maybe do something but maybe do some cloud gazing, just kind of stare up at the sky, maybe do some dancing. That's a really lovely way, I feel like, to work with Pisces energies. But just some things that really help you get in tune with the flow of like really kind of understand the cosmic waters that are flowing within you, these deeper, richer energies that are going on here. This could be a very, very supportive moon day for us all. And let me go ahead and get shuffling here and talk about this, because depending on when you're watching this, on the 16th of September, the moon is going to be entering into Pisces at about 2:39 a.m., and that's going to be Pacific time. She's going to be forming out 5 aspects with the traditional planets. So that's going to be, we got another pretty active moon period that's going to be going on here. And we'll talk about the full moon here in a second. But with the moon being in Pisces, I like when the moon is in Pisces. This because I feel the moon, of course, sans Scorpio, the moon does very well in water signs, being that she's the ruler of Cancer. So when in Jupiter, Big Papa have a really great relationship. Even though they're not necessarily sect mates, Jupiter's gonna give whatever to whomever he's talking to. So I feel with the moon in Pisces, this really is encouraging of nurturing your creative side again, and nurturing that intuitive side. Maybe pull some tarot during that day. Maybe watch some tarot, or maybe even indulge in reading some like mythology, possibly even something like fantasy novels. I could see that as another thing. Maybe watching some sort of like fantasy movie, possibly. This could be like a great. I actually ran into this person the other day. They had this Harry Potter sleeve that was going on their leg. Actually, I saw a lot of people with different tattoos. One had a Harry Potter sleeve on his leg. Another guy had a Naruto sleeve on his arm. I thought that was sick. And so I was just like, wow. Maybe not necessarily get a tattoo, but maybe you've been thinking about one. Maybe come up with the designs for that. Maybe you have your own sort of creative ideas that you want to come up with. But really great nurturing side, and this could be a really great energy too. Just thinking about that, making sure to get some rest while the moon is in Pisces, because that Pisces has a very active, imaginative state with that water in constant motion. And so this could be where you're maybe getting a lot of downloads, maybe in your dreams, possibly. So that's something to pay attention to as well. Where do you go when you're just kind of dazed off a little bit. You know, have you ever been driven in a car and it's not like you're not paying attention, but you know, sometimes you can get so focused, like your body knows what to do, but it's just like all of a sudden you're at your destination. It's like, oh, when did I get here? Like, who's driving that vehicle? But like, pay attention to where your mind is going with during those period of times. What kind of thoughts are attracting? What's swimming in the undercurrents of your subconscious? So that's something I feel to really, because now you're definitely more in tune with that, with the moon being in Pisces. Now let's talk about this big day here that's happening on the 17th. Because on Mars Day, the 17th of September, the moon should be at this full moon in Pisces at the exact will be at 7:34 p.m. and that's going to be again Pacific time. And actually, let me just go ahead and pull up the chart here. I got a lovely chart for you. We got a really cool sky here. Now, the full moon period happens when the sun and the moon, as you see here, are opposite one another. Here's the sun. This is happening at 25 degrees. Oh, let me make that a little bit nicer. But this is happening at 25 degrees and 40 minutes. The sun is in Virgo. Here's the sun. And then here's Luna here. She's in Pisces. And it's when they're in an opposition with one another. Now, oppositions, I like to think of them as whatever happened during that seeding process at the beginning of the new moon. Now we're really starting to see some things grow. Or we're just really starting to get some really cool downloads as far as like where we want to go from here. As far as like, you know, where we want to move or how do we want that new moon intention to really manifest. You really see the progress of your work here. But it's where the moon is at its brightest. You really are seeing things clearly. You're getting the most information, I feel, from the sun and the moon. So these are very powerful, potent times when we have these full moon periods. And the interesting thing about this one, since it's happening between Virgo and Pisces, it's that physical versus the like spiritual side of things. And how are those two working together? Are your daily practices supporting your emotional growth, that intuitive spiritual practices? And vice versa, are the spiritual practices supporting your bodily growth? Are they supporting you in keeping up with these habits that keep the body healthy, keep the body functioning, and things along those lines? This could be a great way of looking at things like that. And the interesting thing I found about, because we do have a pretty busy sky with this one, at the same time, Mercury and Saturn here are forming an opposition as well. At least their opposition is applying. I think it comes to the exact on the 18th, if I'm remembering correctly. And I feel with these two oppositions happening so closely to one another, this could be a realization, especially coming up with this partial lunar eclipse, and I'll get into that in a moment, where you may be seeing things that just aren't working. And I don't think it's something that's going to necessarily throw you out of left field. This is something I feel that you've been getting downloads for this for a while, because Saturn's been in Pisces for a while, been combing through. He takes his time when he's combing through these sectors of our charts. And I just feel like now we're kind of reaching ahead here. Things are kind of come to where you can really make some really, let's say, for example, you're like, you know what, I've been smoking on and off here for a long time now. Now I'm ready to just cut it quits. I'm going to get a patch. I'm going to start maybe finding other healthier things to substitute this. Or maybe maybe you're thinking about, this could be the person where you've been in a certain career for a certain amount of time, and now you realize, you know what, I think I'm going to go, maybe you were a lawyer for a while, maybe you want to go join the circus, or maybe you were in the circus for a while, and you know what, I think I want to go become an author. You know, like really drastic changes like that, and drastic changes that have been bubbling up in you for a while. It may seem shocking, I would imagine, for other people if you haven't really been speaking about it, but this would be, I feel like, a really great discerning period to take what has been, how you've been visualizing yourself, how have things been moving you, and it's just like what pieces are needing to change. Because when we get into the partial lunar eclipse, that's going to be happening at about 10 minutes later, at about 7:44 p.m. And with eclipses, this is a partial eclipse. The partial eclipse is when the moon is not completely covered in the shadow of the earth, and so it's like it's this half illuminated and half lit up here. There's going to be like a little bit of red in there, but there's still that full light in there also. And I feel like there's a choice that's needing to be had. This is a choice of conscious versus, I feel like, making conscious decisions versus unconscious decisions. You can either choose to stay in a certain, stay unaware and stay unconscious of maybe certain habits that may not be supporting your growth, or we can decide to take that bring that into our consciousness and do something actively about it, as opposed to maybe having like a tower moment happen where, let's say, you've been trying to quit. I'm thinking like an easy one I'm just thinking about because I have experience with this is like when you're working on like quitting drinking, for example. Like there was a period of time where I did get some bodily indicators that, hey, what are you doing? Like like this is not, you can keep this up, but this is at the rate that you're going, you can learn through this thing however you want. This can be an easier experience, or this can be a tougher experience depending on the one that you want. But I feel we're getting into a time where we are having to take more accountability, that we can't just be where we're shooting the blame elsewhere. Like we're gonna have to see where, let's say, if you're in a relationship that the person, you say, oh, this person doesn't treat me right, this thing doesn't this and that. Well, then let's change it. And there may be an argument as far as like, well, I have to think about this, I have to think about that, I think about that. Well, that's perfect, because you have all the steps that you need in order to make this move. It's now it's a question of, are you ready to make that move? And if not, then let's be mindful about what we're speaking into our, when you're, that's just something to be really kind of mindful about here. This is a really big time of choice. And one thing I want to talk about with this too is the Sabian symbol for where the moon's at, because this is going to happen at phase 356 of Pisces. And the imagery for this is watching the very thin moon crescent appearing at sunset. Different people realize that the time has come to go ahead with their different projects. And the keynote for this is a keen appreciation of the value of individualized responses to any challenge in life. And I really, really love this, because I feel like this is that realization that it's time to make, to start those endeavors. Maybe I'm going to change that eating routine. Maybe I'm going to work in more healthier foods. Maybe I'm going to get more rest. Maybe I'm going to start that career. Maybe I'm going to move to that new place. Maybe I'm going to invest in such and such. Whatever this thing is for you, this is the time. There's no time like the present to really start. This is, I feel, an energy of having faith in action. You can hope and hope and hope, and that's great. That helps you get magnetic, but then it's like, what are the intuitive downloads? I like to talk with Pisces. You have this active imagination, and that's great, but we can't see that if you don't do anything with it, and that's where Virgo comes in. Virgo helps ground that. So the sun is wanting something to ground, and the moon is bringing the downloads for it. So that's what I really think is happening here. We have way more options now and choices for growth than ever before, I think. And I think it's just only going to continue to do that. We're going through, I personally feel, we've probably been in this for like a little while, but I feel there's this really big kind of renaissance period that's happening here. This next big coming here. The pendulum is shifting towards this kind of brighter energy that's coming on here. So whatever challenge that you're coming up to in life, again, I would like to remind people, you're not alone in this. This is all activating something in our charts, and we're all doing something towards this thing, and whatever that's looking like for you. But I do think that it is time to just to kind of rise up, and I feel like to, yeah, make more conscious decisions towards the betterment of your life. You know what I mean? But let me go ahead and move this down. No, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about this before we move over to this. Is that in this, Jupiter is kind of like the referee in this. We got a loose T square here that's happening with Big Papa. And Jupiter is how we expand, how we affirm. And being in Gemini, again, there's so many ways that this can go either way. And that's something too, I think, I'm actually glad I talked about that. So if you're feeling, because one thing I could see happening is if you have this idea, you want this growth, but that Virgo mind may be thinking about all of the options, and then the moon is starting to feel overwhelmed, there could be a potentiality for like a dip back. I could see this as what's the word that I'm looking for? When you relapse. I can see this as like a relapse period. And if that happens, this is a time to be kind to yourself. It's not a time to beat yourself up like, okay, shoot, that happened. Okay, what happened that caused that? And really look at that. Okay, this is what I was feeling. The energies were weak. Maybe I hadn't got enough sleep. Maybe I was feeling a little ill. Maybe I was feeling this. But now I wanted to speak more. Okay, we got to change this thing. I don't want that to happen again. So I feel Jupiter is there to this can go either way with Big Papa. He can either he's just gonna blow. He's gonna expand it regardless. And so why not let this be an expansion for your betterment, an expansion for something that's gonna help you feel just even better and lighter overall here. So that's something I really feel like we want to pay attention to during this period of time. We're in a very potent manifestation period, and I feel like it's going to be like that for a little bit here. So work, Big Papa, work with these energies that are lining up. And this full moon, I feel, can be a time of, the full moon can be a time of celebration. Because now we're able to, when you're thinking about this, the moon is now brightest at the nighttime. We can see things in the dark a lot clearer now. So take that as a bit of hope. Let that, or a lot of, like, not even a bit bigger than hope. Let that be faith that you can keep, how do I want to put this? Have faith that whatever challenge comes your way, that there are it's like that you'll be able to see it. There's a certain word that there's something specific that I'm trying to find here, but I feel hopefully you get where I'm coming from with this. Like there's just a lot more empowerment that I really feel that can happen during this period of time here. So just some things I think to kind of pay attention to during this eclipse time. Very potent time when we're getting with these energies. Now I want to talk about the void of course before we get on to the tarot, because the void of course period is going to be happening on right after the eclipse, or right after the full moon at 7:34 p.m. and will go until Mercury Day, the 18th of September, till about 2:24. So we're looking at about roughly what would that be? That'd be about a 7-hour, maybe 10 minutes, just in math, the void of course time there. And the void of course period, the aspect that flavors that void of course, or the final aspect that she forms with the celestial body usually flavors that void of course period. And she's forming an opposition with the sun, and I'm working with the traditional planets, just by the way. And so what comes up during this full moon period, meditate on that during the void of course. That's what the void of course can be, a great period of time. I like to look at it as a time to reflect on what has happened during this moon in Pisces. And this was a lot that was going to be going on here potentially for us. And And I just don't feel like it's like not necessarily a lot happening to you. A lot of I feel like a lot of choices will be presenting themselves, and it's just like which route do you want to take, which route, and how do we feel about the choices that we made during that period of time there. And also, to the void of course period is not a time to really kind of start anything up. So if you happen to be, depending on what your time zone, of course, if you can happen to get some rest during this time, kind of sleep easy, see what dreams come up again for you during that time. Maybe you get some messages for that. But if you happen to be up during the day, or this has happened to be, wherever this period falls for you, just doing some meditation, or if you just happen to, maybe you're working overnights or something like that, taking some time to really just kind of process, okay, how am I doing? How am I feeling? Do I feel in alignment with where things are going? Just things along those lines. So, but also I feel, if you have favorite time not to start up anything, great time for rest. And yeah, I think that's what I got for you there. And if you're curious about how these energies, because it's always, I'm speaking very generally when I'm talking about these topics here, but if you're wanting to learn about how these are working more personally in your chart, down in the description box below, I have a link to, you can book a free consultation with me to find out the different services that I provide and to see what would work best for you. I also have where I do different lunar groups every month. We start at the new moon and we work over a 27-month cycle. And it's meant to build this where we're really nourishing that area of whatever chart or whatever new moon class that you decide to start up for. And we meet 4 times over this 27-month period and really just kind of do like different check-ins to see how the seeding process has been growing from the full moon, or excuse me, from the new moon. And we'll be doing the next one that's coming up in Libra, and which will be an eclipse. So that's going to be a really potent one. So see what happens there, as opposed to when we get to the first quarter 9 months later, to when we get the full moon 18 months later, to the last quarter so if that's something that you feel resonates with you, definitely check all that stuff down in the description box. And then last little things, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. How fascinating. I feel like this one's been coming through quite a bit here, and I think I'm going to get another clarifier on this. I think this is the 3rd time this has popped through this cycle. And so you have the Mama Cacao and the Rhodonite card here, which is a card of heart opening. And this is water and earth energies. And this is heightened sensitivity, Pisces, unifying and high on love. And I really think with this that this is a time for you during this full moon to open your heart up to and just really kind of tune into the things that you're receiving. Because I would even, I'm getting the word detox. And I say that if you have something that you've been doing in excess that maybe has been interfering with your sensitivity, possibly, that might even be something to look to as well, where we may need to become, that Saturn in Pisces may be a bit more disciplined as far as how we've been moving through things, how we've been growing in our experience. Are you high on love, or are we high on something else? You know what I mean? And this is not a judgment. I mean, it's more so just like, and when I say high on, have you been high on anxiety? Have you been high on fear? Have you been high on substances? And because of the fear, the anxieties, the things along those lines, whatever that's looking like. And seeing too, is that the way you want to tend to, is that the nutrients that you want to put into this garden, that water and earth energy, that's fertile soil where we're tending to something here. But I'm going to get another one on this. Okay. Thanks, Spirit. Okay. Oh, I love that. Okay, so you have the Anandalite card. It's Anandalite and Lemon Balm. And this is a card of integrating energies. This is air energy. And this is a card of awakening and transitioning. Excuse me. And that's what I feel this eclipse, this full moon eclipse is happening. There's a new awakening that's happening. And there's going to be a transitionary period that's going to take place. This is not something I feel like whatever changes are coming up, it's not like the universe just like, oh, it's more so like I feel like it's usually more of a build up than that. I was a little aggressive. But I feel that maybe the insights might come in that heavy, but what you do with that, the awakening process is a lot more gentler, is what I'm getting with this card. Allow the thoughts to integrate first, and then I'm getting like a faith in action. You start to water that earth to the tend to the different challenges of life. And the thing too, again, to remember that this is going to look differently for everyone. This is how that saving symbol was talking about, this keen appreciation for the individualized responses to challenges of life. I'm not telling you this is how you have to do things. I'm always a big fan of listen to what is coming up for you. What do you feel like you need to do? Do you feel you need to speak with someone? Do you need, whatever it is that you need, this is going to be on a specific level. People can give you the air energy, the advice, but how you utilize that to water your soil and tend to your garden is going to depend on you. But I'm even thinking with lemon balm. Lemon balm is not an herb that I've personally worked with that often, but I know enough about it that lemon balm is a very soothing herb. Really great, I feel, for like around like when we get into more kind of hotter temperatures, something that is very kind of refreshing, relaxing, but I'm just getting a soothing energy with this lemon balm here that's needing to happen. Some things that can help make the transition period a lot easier. Maybe you are working on kitting out some sort of addiction possibly, and there is an integration process that's needing to be happen. How do you substitute? What do you need to substitute out in order to make that flow possible so that there's not that potentiality for, let's say, a relapse or something along those lines. But let's get some tarot on this and get some details. Okay. Thanks, myself. See what's going on here. Oh, all right, got a few people here. Let's see what's going on. So you have the Daughter of Baskets, which are the daughters of the knights in this deck, the Mother of Knives, the Mother of Coins, the Nine of Knives, and the Four of Sticks here. Just speaking of someone just kicking it with lemon balm, well, actually, she's got like lavender and I think jasmine that she's got tied up on her bed here. But the Mother of Coins is... I feel like she's resting right now because when I feel like there's almost like a visualization energy that's going on here. She's trying to, and I'm getting this. If a lot has been coming up for you here recently, maybe over the last month, couple of weeks, whatever this is looking like, I really think that this is a great time to get grounded. Because the Nine of Knives is a very anxious card. It has a lot of fear behind it. This is Mars and Gemini. So how have you been operating from it? Mars just left out of Gemini not too long ago. But it's just like, how have we been operating? Have we been just scattered all over the place as the energy's been to and fro? And now we're needing to take a moment and... I'm getting like an emotional check-in with the Daughter of Baskets here. That's interesting. Now that Mars is in Cancer, paying attention to being reactive during this period of time. As far as, are we making moves because we're feeling things out of fear, or are we moving from this place of clarity with the Mother of Knives towards this energy of celebration here? And I feel this Nine of Knives is not fearing the transitionary process, not fearing the unknown. It's holding that joy, that Four of Sticks energy, that this thing that you've initiated is going to attract the love that you want and that you want to enjoy. It's going to help assuage some of these fears as well. I think I'm going to get a little bit more on this. Let me get a little more on the Daughter of Baskets. Okay, thanks to myself. Okay, so the Daughter of Baskets is clarified by her dad, the Father of Baskets, and then you have Dr. Grant, which is the Hermit card here. And so, a lot of deep wisdom. I feel like we're reflecting on. I almost feel like we're reflecting on this emotional wisdom that we're attaining here with the Father of Baskets. The Father of Baskets has all these fish that he's strung up here. He's an experienced kind of fisherman, and I feel like this is that's interesting. It's like every time the Father of Baskets goes out to sea, and I'm just getting the sea is just when he's going out in life. There's always a transitionary period, and he has something to bring. He brings something back with him from this experience, something for him to integrate within himself with the Hermit card being here, and I feel this Daughter of Baskets is going again with a new sense of focus, with a heightened sensitivity, but it's not this overly stimulated energy. It's more of it's an emotional, intuitive intelligence that she's moving with now, moving with a higher state of consciousness, and that just means just making more conscious decision as opposed to feeling like you have just like zero impulse control. Now you're able to stop for a moment. It's just like, do I really want to do that? You know how that makes you feel, and it's like, right, no, you're right about that. Let me sleep on that before I incorporate more of that bring more of that vibration that may slow down, or maybe even like slow down, or I'm even thinking like alter the course a little bit, or just like, and it just extends you to getting to that unified state there. I feel with kind of like that consciousness. Let me get some more tarot on this. Thanks, myself. Let's see what else is going on here. Okay, so you have the Ten of Knives, the Three of Baskets, the Four of Baskets, Dr. Buzzard, which is the Justice card, and then Bishop C.H. Mason, which is the Hierophant. And that's actually interesting. In the previous video, I was talking about him, and I was thinking about his story with his tongue being branded. And with that, I actually found where that is. So hold on, let me actually bring that up this time because now we're prepared. And I wanted to talk about that because I think that's very important with what's coming up with Pisces. So when he's Bishop C.H. Mason is going through this. He's channeling God right now, and he said, when I opened my mouth to say glory, a flame touched my tongue, which ran down me. My language changed, and no word could I speak in my own tongue. Oh, I was filled with the glory of the Lord. And the Lord, and I'm thinking he's talking about his higher self. And I really feel that this is opening up, looking to, I'm getting, in some ways, looking to some kind of traditional ways to open you up, open your heart sensitivity up to activate this awakening. This could be through prayer. This could be through meditation, whatever this is. But the Ten of Knives is when we've reached this state of rock bottom, or what appears to be the state of rock bottom. But Dr. Buzzard, the Justice card, is this energy of cause and effect. That every cause has an effect and every effect had a cause. And so if things have been in this Ten of Knives, what has been causing that? What has been the theme for that? What are we, I'm looking at her, how she's like, now she's not even interested in this basket that's being offered to her. And that's what I feel, having that sort of emotional consciousness to be like, you know what? No, I'm not going to keep taking these things that are not working for me. This is I'm going to start doing more things that bring this sense of calm, that's going to bring this joy into get more heart opening energy. We're getting high on love here, and I feel this Three of Baskets is spreading that energy around some and not forcing it on people. It's more so, one thing that I like to do when I'm kind of talking with people and I'm noticing that they're like, for example, my sister was just texting me. This is just like a real light example. She was just like, oh, I was talking with someone about how it was great growing up with someone who's the same age, and she's like, oh, I'm the worst for not texting you sooner, or leaving you, not getting back to you sooner. It's like, Ashley, you are the best. It's like, stop putting that on yourself, all that Virgo or all that mercurial energy you have. You're the best. You are absolutely the best, and that's what I like to do. I like to get people where they're not putting those things on themselves. Because I was reading in this book, and I really believe that that's true. The subconscious doesn't have a sense of humor, and you got to be mindful with your words. Become more conscious of what you're saying in your everyday, because then those things keep accumulating. Then we keep staying in the same old things, and then nothing changes. But if we alter that Mercury in Cancer, that's what the Three of Cups is, I feel like we can shift into a different cycle here, initiate from a different place here. That's very interesting. All right, let's get some advice from Big Papa. Oh, I love that. Thanks, Divine Self. So you have the Meditation for Creativity card here. And let's switch back over. Because there is some bigger cycles that are happening right now. This is a very interesting time to be alive, where the planets are, to be experiencing this journey with where all the planets are at currently, especially where the outer planets are at and what's getting ready to go down. And we are in a state of, I feel like, where we can all really have a really big awakening. I think I mentioned this in the last energy, or in the last video, talking about even like a renaissance sort of energy here. But I feel like it's meditating on, how do you want your awakening process to look like? How do you want to transition through everything that's going on right now? And that's going to be happening in the future, because things are going to get very fascinating, I feel, over these next, I'm thinking next 20 years for sure, of course, with Pluto being in Aquarius and all of that. But I think by the time that like Saturn moves into Aries, it's gonna be the word I'm getting is trickier to, if you haven't already established these like rituals in things towards integrating this new growth, this new sense of consciousness, then it's just gonna be not impossible, just a bit trickier again to create what you're wanting to, because maybe there are gonna be some other factors that may be kind of hampering the process a little bit. So while we're in this potent energy, start some stuff up, be the cause for new growth, and bring some love here. Okay, I think I'm going to leave that there. Some interesting things to think about here, but if you like that, or if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. And share this if you know someone who, because we're going through a very fascinating time right now. Are you gonna give me a thumbs up? That's fine. but yeah, share this. We're going through a very fascinating time right now, and I think the more people that are aware of this, I think that it's just gonna benefit us all in the long run. And then subscribe there, you mother coins. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each day. And then last little thing. Come up to my other channel, Alchemist State. Over there, I do videos about the weekly transits that are going on up in the sky, and I also do videos talk about different planetary placements. Those I don't have a set schedule. I just kind of release them when they come out. But I try to keep them pretty regular. And yeah, check out all that stuff. And all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards or card so I can get you out of here. But tune into what's true for you, where you're at on your journey, what you feel is you're ready to change. Again, you don't have to do a whole bunch of things. This doesn't have to be where it's like a complete overhaul. But I do think that there is just more action that's needing to be taken here. But oh, look at this. So we have the Comfrey card, which is a card of completion. And this card is associated with Saturn. And so something's coming to a close. And just as when one thing closes, something else opens. This is world card energy. I mean, look at that. It has the wreath with the infinity symbol here that's surrounded in I'm thinking in the Rider White deck, that figure that has that wreath surrounded there. There's Capricorn hanging out over here. But something is coming to an end. This is a great, really potent energy, I feel, for. Again, if you're wanting to kick a certain habit, you've been working with addiction. Again, maybe you've been in these codependent relationships. Maybe there's been this toxicity at your job, or maybe there's ready for a career change, or again, you're ready to move, whatever have you. This is a great time to meditate and get creative as far as like, what do I want to do now that I've seen this, now that this thing is ready to close out? How do I create this new thing? Because now we're going to go from the world to the Fool, and we're going to start over. Something new, something better, something bigger. So I'm getting a message here too, is just about trying not to leave things unfinished. And whatever that means for you. I'm getting something like this, maybe something that you've been working on for a long time, possibly. And how long, it doesn't have to be years. This could be something you've been working on for a couple weeks, couple of months. But making sure to close out some chapters, maybe even revisiting some things that you've left unfinished, possibly. That might even be something to there that I'm getting, but I think I'm gonna leave that there. So stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration through the roof. Keep eyes on the moon, and I will catch you on the next one. Mercury Day.